Hi there, everybody. I am with Florence Aluu of Flosverse, and we are really excited to talk to Florence today about her business journey. It's a really interesting and inspirational opportunity to get to know about this fantastic woman in business and what she aspires to do. So, first of all, Florence, over to you. Who are you? What do you do and how long have you been doing it? And most importantly, why do you do it?
Okay, thank you so much, Stephanie. My name is Florence Aluu, as you rightly said. I live here in West Lothian, Livingston, Scotland, and I'm the founder of Flosverse. Flosverse is a social enterprise. We are EdTech registered here in Scotland. So we kind of train young girls between the ages of 13 to 17 in all things 3D design, 3D modeling, virtual reality education. And yeah, it's been quite a journey for me because I've been a resident of West Lothian for the past 3 years. And I'm originally from Nigeria. And before I got here, I've been in the tech industry since 2016. Well, it will be surprised to know that my first degree wasn't in anything tech. Yeah, my first degree was in arts. I used to be a teacher back then in Nigeria after my first degree. But growing up, I've always known that, that there's this kind of thing, when you have a particular calling, but you didn't have like the clear pathway to go into that particular field. Back then, I remember I attended a common community school where we lacked so many amenities, so many resources in the school, as very usual, very typical of where I come from. So it was just like the basic subjects. It's either English, maths, biology, government, and stuff like that. At a point I was doing so well in mathematics, but after some time I just lost interest. I said, okay, let me go into the arts. And I went, I was far ahead in my class, but I still didn't have that satisfaction. And I knew that there was something, different. As in, because I was very creative, I had this kind of huge imagination growing up, but, to place it in the right field was a challenge because there were no resources, no clear pathway for me, no pointers. What would you do if you don't fit into this class? Would you fit into here? No satisfaction doing so many subjects that I was doing. So when I finished, in fact, up till the time I finished my secondary school, I never knew about a computer set. Yeah. So it was, I think, when I was writing, we call it WAEC, where we come from, the West African senior school certificate. So it was at that point that I got to hear about, this technology where you could email people and people will receive it instantly. You could Google, you could ask questions, you could just get so many information from the internet. Well, I kind of saved money then and said, okay, we had what we call computer centers. So I don't know if you had it here as well. So I would save up some money, go into like an internet cafe. Yeah. So I would go into there and buy some time. I didn't have anyone teaching me. In fact, it was a cousin of mine that is a male that talked to me about it. So for we ladies, we weren't privy with such information. It was just either you study to become a nurse, or you study to become a lawyer, or you study to become a doctor. Those were like the prominent profession. And they were prominent because most of our family member also told that path. So, it's very easy when you have like two doctors, two nurses in the family. And, that's where everyone mind, okay, you could actually study to be like your uncle. You could study to be like your cousin who is in the university studying medicine. So like all these fields outside is like in tech, they were not really prominent where I came from. So it was through the search on the internet. And I can remember the feeling I had the first day I had a go at the internet. I just bought I think it was 30 minutes I could afford then at the internet cafe. I was around 16 years old. So I just asked them, how do I access? So they just put in the time, because then I think there's a ticker, you have to sign in with a password on a piece of paper. So you just put it in, and then I clicked, and boom, I was I was just, I think then Yahoo was more prominent than Google. So it was just Yahoo. So my cousin had told me, okay, you could actually get a Yahoo mail. I was like, okay. I looked at it, Yahoo. I was just like playing around, and that's one good thing, as in that has helped me all this way, because I'm very inquisitive. I love researching. I love searching out for new ideas, and uh, being self-taught is something that I'm proud to say. In my journey in tech, almost everything I've learned it through my own effort of making research. So there and then I was able to create a Yahoo mail without anyone teaching me how. And the next thing I was like, okay, let me search out some details. I would search out, and I would see something. I was like, wow. So everything we study in school, you could actually search out people that wrote about it, articles and stuff, information and everything. So I was wowed, and I was now like, well, I think this is it. This is that missing thing, that I've been searching for. Okay, but how to develop, skills related to this, how to pursue a career in this technology, because I didn't really understand what was behind the technology. I just thought, oh, an internet, you could just ask questions, but what, how do I advance to be maybe a user or a provider, or have a skill related to the technology behind the internet? I didn't know. So I was just kind of exploring, and went on to university. And then while I was in the university, I still had access to, Google, internet, study about different things. But to have those, then that, I think it was when I was in the university that I heard about computer science. People could go to the uni. But when I started engaging the students that are actually studying computer science, I found that, well, from what they say, is actually different from, the kind of flair I have with this. It's just more of it's just more of mathematics, calculation and everything. I'm like, well, I'm running away from all this stuff that can get my head running and everything. And he's still telling me, because unlike here, where most of the things you do are more practical, over where we come from, it's more of the theory. You just read books. Most people back then study computer science without actually seeing a computer. So that was it, without actually doing any work, any major work on a computer. Yeah, that was how it was back then. So, well, I just felt like this isn't it. So I still continued, research, and I picked up a teaching job after I had graduated. And boom, one of the days I started reading about blockchain technology. I was like, oh, I think there's now, a breakdown. There's fintech, there's health tech, there's air tech and stuff like that. So I started reading about the blockchain technology, and started engaging people in my community. Have you heard about this? Even like people I look up to that are vast, that are vast thoughts. They know almost everything, but it was strange to them. I was like, wow, I think I can beat you to this. So if you don't know this, then this is actually something, I could study, and create a pathway for myself career-wise. So I started studying about the blockchain technology, and that was far back in 2015, and fully ventured into it in 2016. And because I noticed from my background, I struggled as a girl to relate with different career options. So I knew that I had to use my voice for other girls, to help them, to aid them, to talk to them about this, and also um, give them resources, and materials that would actually signpost them. Oh, if you're good, it's technology is a vast topic, it's a vast industry. You could actually go key in through what you like doing, what you have passion for, and stuff like that. Apparently in the society now, we've seen how fashion has been digitalized. We have like digital fashion and everything. So if you had told a fashion designer or a dressmaker back then, about this, they wouldn't actually believe that you could actually get to design a fabrics, on an app, and to model it and stuff like that. So these are like people that have that kind of passion. You could actually, talk to them about pick up a skill in this to support this, because the world is advancing. And that was what I have been, that's what I've been doing since 2016. When I was in Nigeria, I started talking, because I knew that we women were we were the most disadvantaged because at that time, even when I was 16, for me to hear about internet, I heard it from my male cousin. And when I asked my peers, none of them had, none of them had that confidence to even go into it in an internet cafe to even explore. It just takes being, going, being having that extra source in you, to actually explore. So that has been my journey. I started back in Nigeria, having webinars, having seminars. And from blockchain, I went further into the study of virtual reality. And because I have an educational background, I also started studying how, this, when you talk about tech for good, how we could actually use it to promote and or rather implement it in our classroom to enhance learning, in the classroom. And that's what I've been up to for the past, I've been into for the past 2 years now, studying, how we could implement this virtual reality in the classroom. And that was what led us to starting Flosverse officially in April 2022. Before then, I've been working behind the scene, talking to young girls, speaking to people within my community, holding webinars and Zoom sections. And then February we launched. I met someone, not someone, a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, Alison, she's a business coach as well and a consultant. She was a she used to be like a mentor to me. And when she saw the work I was doing, she was like, "Oh, Florence, I think we could scale this, to get more people to benefit from what you're doing." And she officially came on board. I asked her to become a co-founder, since she has that passion to empower more women. Because coming, to Europe, to the UK, you'd feel that it is different, like the way it is back in Africa. But well, the figures are still the same. Women are still far, far, far below on the radar in terms of technology. I was just seeing an article sometime, I think when they were celebrating the International Women's Day last year, where they said that women make up only 20% of the tech role in Scotland, 20%. And I think one of the reasons they gave was that one is gender bias and then lack of support during schooling. And this is what Flosverse has stepped in to do. Like we partner with schools. We are currently in St. Margaret, where we are working with a number of their students, introducing them because before now, the most popular skill has been, like coding, programming, gaming. And sometimes when you look at the terms associated with this, it tends to put the girls off because they'll feel like for you to be a programmer is a hard work, for you to code is a hard work. But I believe in fun through learning, and with the kind of devices we use, the kind of app we use. In fact, the girls play while learning. It's fun while learning to design. And we noticed that in the design industry, in the design industry, usually at the beginning they have more women kind of enrolled, but towards the end it's just a few of them that graduate and take up roles in that industry. So we just tend to go into the school early, focus on this age, on the age I mentioned, introduce them to this app, and gradually instill the skills in them, and as they grow they pick it. So I think I'll just pause here. That has been the story of my journey.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a really interesting journey. When we spoke before, I was like fascinated about the one thing that you said was around, most people gravitate to the easy, and you tend to gravitate towards being a disruptor, to doing the difficult. And it certainly seems that from your journey, that you're kind of really interested in technology and Bitcoin again, you are or sorry, the technology blockchain that underpins that. So many people find that it's a worry that they don't necessarily want to investigate, and they stay away from the things that they don't understand. So what would you say makes Flosverse stand out different from the competition? And maybe the question is, do you have competition in the space in the kind of social enterprise right now?
Well, yeah, actually, we have a number of competition, but looking at our value and what we do, what we offer, we actually, there's this huge gap which Flosverse tends to cover. One is from the onset, I told my team that our target has to be the grassroots because those are the ones that are often left out. So if you look at, so I don't want to mention them, but if you look at so many ed techs, in terms of social enterprise, they just focus at the big schools, the big towns, but we are just starting local. We just go into the grassroots because that has been my passion. That's where I come from. My first go at the internet was at the very lowest level, grassroots and community level and everything. So we focus at the grassroots level, and two as well in terms of the design industry. There are no much social, would I say, ed tech that focuses on training girls in design, 3D design, 3D modeling, virtual reality. I would say in the whole, if I'm not sure about the whole Scotland, I'm very certain of the whole Edinburgh, I'm very certain of Glasgow. We are the one that focus on 3D, the use of DCC apps, digital content creating apps and stuff like that. And yeah, I can say, as a matter of fact, like our girls in St. Margaret, they are doing really, really well with the use of Blender, with the use of Gravity Sketch. They could model, they could model, they could design and sketch, objects. And recently, well, I wouldn't let the cat out of the bag yet. So I'd say, yeah, we stand out in a lot of,
Well, that's really interesting because my question is, looking ahead for the social enterprise, what are the main challenges that you can predict in this really crazy world of unpredictability? You sounds like your co-founder, she wants to scale, she wants to make it more accessible to more women, girls and women in schools. So tell me about what you see the major challenges with that are.
Okay, well, I would say the industry we find ourselves is quite friendly. It's very collaborative. I would give it to them, in terms of pointers, in terms of collaboration. But one of the major challenge, especially as a startup, is, the funds, accessing the funds to scale the business, which I would say up till now we are self-funded.
Wow.
We've been funding we've trained 48 girls up to date, and I think I kept my headset. I wanted to I wanted to bring, so you see what we use in our training. That's the Oculus Quest 2. And I think the market cost is about £400. So we provide it for each girl that we've trained, and we've done that solely from our pockets. And assessing funds, especially, I wouldn't say we are a bit backwards in our council where we are in West Lothian in terms of technology. Assessing funds, the schools are very, very happy to work with us, but all they would complain is about funding. And having access to funding anyway is one of the major barriers. It's one of the greatest challenge that we are facing right now as a social enterprise.
Okay, great. So do you have that? Let's see it if you do have it.
The apps we use for our sketching, they are found on Oculus Quest 2. So each girl tends to put it on and they get immersed in a virtual environment where they get to collaborate with other girls. They could design to maybe model a bag or something. So once they put it on, they get into our secured environment where we have our training because they are very young. It's a secured environment. You don't have access to that space except if we let you in. And once they are there, they're in their avatars and they've got their controllers. And just unlike the traditional way of 3D modeling before, they just go and it's just like they're having fun playing and they're creating amazing stuff on
Wow.
VR. Yeah.
What's the most popular thing for them to create?
Well, recently they've been exploring different types of ideas. I think the last time they were kind of working on some designer handbags, and as a last Tuesday when we were in class, there's this particular girl which she's doing very, very well, Martha. She said she's creating a workspace. What this technology does for you is it gives you that leverage, that ample, in fact, whatever thing you think of, you can bring it to reality. There's no barrier at all. So she's working a working space that would have a bunk bed. I don't know what the bunk bed will be doing in the working space, but
Sounds
that's
good
her
to me.
that's her own idea. It has like this sofa, it has the bunk bed and a lot of things. Very inventive idea and everything. So whatever they could think of, and I'm quite impressed because looking at their journey. In fact, on Tuesday, one of them was like, she was saying thank you, a big thank you, because she never imagined in her life she could do that. And up till that very day, we never knew she was autistic.
Ah,
Yeah, we never knew. So she was saying it during, because we had a one-on-one section with the girls. So she was like, she had always struggled to fit in the class, but we've been there for over 8 weeks now. So, but seeing her, grow, developing the skills, that she's really amazed of what she can do, that she's always often less confident, of doing stuff and coming to the class the way everybody's being carried on, the way you could actually do things with less, would I say, with less guidance and pick up skills. So she was like that she didn't from the onset see herself advancing to this level. And when we started, honestly, she was struggling. She was one of those struggling. But right now, in fact, she's one of the best. And it's so encouraging to see the power of this technology, you know,
great.
helping those that have less confidence in themselves.
Okay. I mean, I'm fascinated. If you could go back and speak to Florence at 18, or a young version of yourself, what advice would you give to yourself then?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, as a woman, you shouldn't limit yourself. What anyone says you cannot do, you can do it irrespective of your gender, irrespective of the environment you find yourself. Once you set your heart to do it, you can do it. And never, in fact, sometimes you just have to pull yourself away from the crowd, to get yourself. Do not be carried away that everybody is doing this. So for you to succeed in life, you have to do that. Most times our own pathway is different. We have to find it ourselves. So don't feel you're too inquisitive. Ask questions. Keep asking questions, keep exploring, be adventurous, be courageous. That's what I would say to my 18-year-old back there. I would just encourage myself, because I knew then that I was very bold. Yeah, that's one thing. So no matter what, just be bold. And one day the world will see the light, that thing that gives you hope to do what you do. And they feel you can't get it, they'll see the light. Yeah.
Great. So, I mean, I can tell how inspired you are by what your mission is, and you're certainly an inspiring female entrepreneur. Tell us about where people can find out more about Flosverse, interact with you, your website, and just hear about more about the amazing stuff that you and the social enterprise are doing.
Okay, we've got our website, although it's still a work in progress, but you can get all our details there. It's www.flosverse, that's FLOSVERSE.com. Our informations are there. And here in Livingston, we are at the UCA Business Center in Craigshill, and physically also located at Regis in South Gyle. So yeah, you can always get our information. We are on LinkedIn. We are on all social media. We are on LinkedIn as Flosverse CIC. We are on Facebook as well as Flosverse CIC. We're on Twitter. So please do look out for us.
Thank you very much for your time today, Florence, and I wish you all the amazing best things to come with the what you're doing. I think is just phenomenal. So I'm very much looking to following your journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephanie.